Hi. So this class is about equilibrium. Now, before we learn the details of the chapter, it's very important to understand the term equilibrium correctly. So for that, we'll take two examples so that we understand the term equilibrium, like what exactly it means. First of all, equilibrium term is applicable only in a reversible process. So any process which can be reversed, equilibrium can be established in that. So if you look at this conical flask here, so let's take one conical flask at a time. So this conical flask, now you can see that there is water and the water is evaporating. That's very evident that these water molecules, they're leaving the liquid phase and they are going into the air here. So which means they are becoming the vapors. So I can denote this reaction, this process as H2O liquid becoming H2O gas. So this process will go on and soon there will be many water vapors collected in the space above the liquid here. But this does not mean that the process will go on and at one point of time all the water here will become vapor and the conical flask will be empty. It will be full of vapors. It won't happen. Now, why doesn't that happen? Even though the evaporation process does not stop, then why doesn't the slowly, gradually, all the water evaporates and the liquid phase should empty and it should be only vapors all over the flask? Why doesn't this happen? Because once sufficient number of vapor molecules are gathered, then these vapor molecules also start condensing, like they also get condensed and they join the liquid phase. And this process I can denote as the reverse process of the initial evaporation process. So that's condensation. So hence the water liquid can turn into water gas and water gas can turn back into water liquid. So this is a reversible process. At one point of time, what will happen is that these two processes which are happening simultaneously, the two processes which are happening simultaneously, they will start happening at the same speed. Okay, these processes, the two processes, evaporation and the condensation, the two processes will start happening at the same speed, which is shown in this conical flask. So you can notice here, that at a specific time, at a particular time, like when the screenshot of this conical flask was taken, at that moment, 1, 2, and 3 molecules were, taking off. Okay, like they were going from the liquid phase to the gaseous phase. So 3 molecules were from the liquid phase were entering into gaseous phase. And exactly at that particular moment, 3 molecules from the vapors were also becoming liquid. This is what I said, is that the two processes are happening at the same speed. Okay. So when the two processes happen at the same speed, which means the forward reaction and the backward reaction happen at the same speed, the impact of that will be, the effect of that will be, the total number of molecules in the vapor phase will not change, will neither increase nor decrease. Why? You can just notice that if 3 molecules were going from vapor to liquid phase, so there was not a decrease in the in the vapor molecules by 3. Why? Because exactly at that time, 3 molecules of liquid also entered the vapor phase. So vapor state may say 3 molecules subtracted and 3 molecules added. So net total number of gaseous molecules, the vapor molecules, water molecules in the vapor phase will neither increase nor decrease. They will remain whatever number they are. And exactly same thing will happen with the total number of molecules in the liquid phase. Because as you can see that the three molecules which are leaving the liquid phase, which means that total number of water molecules in the liquid phase -3. But exactly at that moment, three molecules also joined the liquid phase. So +3. So -3 plus 3, the total number of molecules in the liquid also remain the same. So we talked about two things happening here. First, we said is that the forward reaction and the backward reaction will happen at the same speed. And because the forward and the backward reactions are happening the same speed, the number of molecules in the reactants and the product, suppose this is my reactant and this is my product, then total number of molecules in the reactants and total number of molecules in the product will neither increase nor decrease. They will remain constant. They will remain constant. But note that when I'm saying that the total number of vapor molecules and the liquid molecules are remaining same, like they are not increasing, they are not decreasing. I'm not saying that they are equal to each other, which means the number of water molecules in the liquid phase is not equal to number of water molecules in the gaseous phase. Okay. Of course, there are way few molecules in the vapor phase than liquid. Liquid phase means there are too many molecules compared to the molecules in the vapor phase. So they are not equal to each other. But I can say that they remain whatever numbers they are. So please understand that you have to use the correct term. So regarding rates of forward reaction and rate of backward reaction, I can say they are equal. I can use the word equal when I'm comparing the rates of the forward and the backward reaction. But if I'm talking about the number of molecules of the reactant and number of molecules of the products, in other words, I can say concentration of reactants and concentration of products. I cannot say that they are equal. Okay, I have to say that concentration of reactants and concentration of products remain unchanged or remain constant. So regarding concentration, do not use the words equal. You have to use the word constant. Okay. Now, having said that, this situation or this condition or this state is described as equilibrium. This state is described as equilibrium. So here I can see that I can say that this particular system in this particular conical flask is at equilibrium. Is at equilibrium because in this both the processes are happening at the same speed, the forward and the backward reaction, evaporation and condensation, the two processes are happening at the same speed, and there is no net change in the total number of reactants and total number of products. Okay, the concentrations remain same, concentrations remain equal, sorry, not equal, remain unchanged. Okay, this is called as equilibrium. Now this situation is called as equilibrium. Now the same equilibrium we can also talk about in terms of a chemical reaction. Like this was a physical system because the reactant product both are water, so it's not a chemically different substance in the product. It's the same thing, but only the state is changing. So one is liquid state, other one is gaseous state. So it's the same substance, so it's a physical state, only physical change, not the chemical change. In this particular diagram, as you can notice, this is the reaction. It's a chemical change. It's a reaction where N2O4, the dinitrogen tetroxide, decomposes and becomes nitrogen dioxide, which is the brownish gas. Okay, so dinitrogen tetroxide N2O4 is a colorless gas, and NO2 is a brownish gas. Okay, so there are 4 pictures of a reaction mixture. So first we talk about the picture A. Where the colorless particles are the N2O4, like these particles are N2O4, and these brown particles are NO2. So the reaction has just begun, So you can see that there is a slight brown tinge in the jar. Okay, a moment before, like when the reaction has not yet started, this would be a colorless. The appearance of the jar would be colorless because these two brown particles will also not be there. It would be entirely colorless. Okay. Now the reaction goes on here, and as you can see in this, the N2O4 particles are way too many, because of course when I started the reaction, I started with only N2O4, and N2O4 is the reactant for the forward reaction. So forward reaction happens very fast. On the other hand, NO2 particles are very few, and NO2 is the reactant for the backward reaction. So the backward reaction happens very slow. Okay. So if I talk about the rate axis, if I talk about rate of reaction axis, okay. And if I talk about forward reaction and the backward reaction. Okay. So at time A, forward reaction rate is like faster. Backward reaction rate is very slow because hardly there are any NO2s there. Okay, so that's the situation at time A. So I'm using a black black ink to show the rates of reaction at time A. The reaction will proceed. As the reaction proceeds, the number of N2O4 molecules will decrease gradually and number of NO2 molecules will increase gradually. And the effect of that will be that the forward reaction which started faster, it will gradually slow down. And the backward reaction, which started the slowest because there were very few NO2s, as the number of NO2s increase, as the number of brown particles in this jar will increase, the backward reaction will take up speed, that will speed up. We'll see what happens at time B. So at time B, like after some time, the number of brown particles are more compared to time A, you can see that. And also the same thing is evident from the color of the or appearance in the of the mixture. This is more darker brownish compared to what it was at time A, which means that at this particular moment, the number of NO2s have increased and the number of N2O4s have decreased. Colorless particles are lesser, brown particles are more. So now I can say that the rate of reaction at time B, I'm using a pink ink to show that. So forward reaction ka rate has decreased, backward reaction ka rate has increased. After some time, this thing will continue. The N2O4 molecules will still keep decreasing, and NO2 molecules will keep increasing. At time C, okay, at time C, you can see that the jar has become darker brown because the number of NO2 molecules have increased further. So from time A to time B to time C, the number of NO2 molecules, the products, have increased, and number of reactants will have decreased, and decreased. So at time C, the rates of the forward reaction and backward reaction have further changed. Now I'm using a green marker to show that. So the forward reaction has dropped further and backward reaction has increased further. And at this point, this particular point of time, they have become equal. The forward reaction and the backward reaction they are happening at the same speed. Initially, forward was happening faster. So forward reaction, which started fastest, only every next moment it only slowed down. Backward reaction, which started slowest, only became faster and faster. And at one particular time, they have become equal. Okay, now what will happen now onwards? The rate of forward reaction, which was decreasing, the rate of forward reaction which dropped here further, it will not drop further. Also, the rate of backward reaction which increased, it will not increase further. Reason, once they become equal, once the forward and the backward rate of reaction become equal, they remain equal. And that is evident from the appearance of the jar at time D, that is sometimes after time C. You can see the time C and time D ka appearance is same. Even in this circle, if you look at the total number of brown molecules and total number of colorless molecules, they are same. Which means that then there is no net change in the reactant molecules or the product molecules, N2O4 molecules or NO2 molecules. Both the number of molecules of both N2O4 and NO2 neither have increased nor decreased. So they remain the same, which means that I can say that at time C, equilibrium is established here. Equilibrium is established here. Because at equilibrium, rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. And because of that, the concentration of the reactants and products do not change. So understand these two statements are in the loop with each other. How? If the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction, which means that the reactants and products, they will be interconverted at the same speed. And because they're interconverted at the same speed, concentration of reactants and concentration of products will remain constant, will remain unchanged. And because concentrations remain unchanged, rates don't change, because rate of reaction depends on concentration. And if the rates won't change, concentration won't change. Concentration won't change, rates won't change. Rates won't change, concentration won't change. That means these two are in the loop of each other. So what happens is that this situation, this equilibrium status, this equilibrium condition persists, it retains. And hence, even if you can see that from time C, which is here, and time D, which is here, so much of time has passed from time C to, this is time C and this is time D. From time C to time C, nothing has changed in the appearance. You can see that nothing has changed in the appearance. That's because after equilibrium is established, there is no net change in the concentrations of the reactants and products. So if you're looking at the reaction mixture, you'll feel that nothing is happening. There's no change. The reaction has stopped. But in reality, actually, the reaction has not stopped. Both the forward reactions and the backward reaction are going on. They are alive. They are going on. They are going on simultaneously, but even if the reaction is happening, why there is no change? Because the two reactions are having opposite change to each other and they are happening at the same speed. So they are undoing each other's change. So whatever change is brought about by forward reaction is undone by the backward reaction. whatever change is brought about by backward reaction is undone by the forward reaction. So forward reaction will increase colorless, decrease the N2O4 and increase NO2. Backward reaction will decrease NO2 and increase colorless. Yeah. So that's why there is no net change in the reaction, in the reaction mixture once the equilibrium is established. Okay, so that's what we understand as equilibrium. So for the definition of equilibrium, you need to include these 2 points. So that at equilibrium in a reversible reaction, rate of forward reaction is equal, mark my word, I said equal to the rate of backward reaction. And the concentration of reactants and concentration of products remain unchanged. Okay, I did not use the word equal in the second statement. I use the word unchanged in the second statement. So this is the definition of equilibrium. All right, so after having understood what exactly is equilibrium, let's see how it can be explained with a graph. Okay, so the very same reaction, the N2O4 and the NO2. If I keep a track of the concentrations of N2O4 and NO2, then following will be the graph, and we'll take one graph at a time. So this is the graph for N2O4, the colorless, or I can use the same colors as they have used. The N2O4 is not bluish, it is colorless. N2O4 becoming NO2. Okay, since the reaction mixture was initially only N2O4, so N2O4 concentration initially was the highest. And as the reaction proceeded, the N2O4 concentration decreased. You can see that it is decreasing. I'll use a highlighter here. It's decreasing, 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 decreasing. And beyond this dotted line, you can see that it is no more decreasing. So which means that post the dotted line, like at the dotted line, the equilibrium is established. So after that, the concentration did not change. On the other hand, NO2 concentration, which was 0 in the beginning, it increased, 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 and beyond the dotted line, it stopped increasing. So you can notice that beyond the dotted line, the N2O4 and the NO2, both the concentrations are neither increasing nor decreasing. So which means at this dotted line, the equilibrium is established. We'll look at the second graph a bit later. Next, we will learn about the characteristics or the features of equilibrium state. So there are 5 features which you need to know. One is that equilibrium is dynamic, which means that at equilibrium, the reaction has not stopped. Okay, it's not halted. Both the forward and the backward reactions continue to go on. The reactions are alive. Reactions are alive. The reaction has not, none of the reaction has stopped. Second, equilibrium is achieved in a closed system, which means that the reaction, the reversible reaction, has to be conducted in a closed system where no material from inside the mixture will go outside. Like nothing from the system goes in the surrounding and nothing from the surrounding comes in the system. Okay, and I'm not talking about energy, I'm just talking about the matter. So which is evident here, like you can see this 2 reactions that we talked about. One is the chemical change of N2O4 to NO2. You can see that the jar is capped here. No molecule can go outside and no molecule from outside can come inside. So that's what we call it as a closed system. Also, the physical system that we talked about here again, the conical flask is corked here. so that no water molecule will go outside, no water molecule from outside can come inside. So all the water molecules that are in here will remain in here only. They will just keep changing the state. They will be either in the liquid state or the gaseous state, but they all belong to inside the conical flask only. So that's the second point of the equilibrium state, that the equilibrium is, the reaction is carried out in a closed system. So equilibrium is established in a closed system. Third, the concentration of reactants and products remain constant at equilibrium. This point we have already discussed 2-3 times, that it remains constant. They are not equal, as both the reactants and products are produced and consumed at the same rate. Forward reaction में reactants consumed, products produced. Backward reaction में products consumed, reactants produced. So consumption and production of the reactants and products is happening at the same speed. So hence there is no net change. But in no way this means that concentrations are equal. So that's third characteristic. At equilibrium, fourth point, at equilibrium there is no change in the macroscopic properties such as color, concentration, pH. The two macroscopic properties here that we can say is appearance here. In this case, the appearance doesn't change. So appearance here, the color, the shade of brown here, okay, is remaining unchanged from here to here. Why? Because here equilibrium is established. So till equilibrium is established, you can say there is a change. There is a change, that there is no change after equilibrium. So macroscopic properties do not change. Also in the physical system that we saw above, you can notice here that the depth of the water molecule initially was this much. At equilibrium, the depth has decreased, and this depth will not decrease further. This depth will not decrease further, will not increase further, will not increase also, and will not decrease also. This depth will remain the same, which means that as an onlooker, if you look at it, we see that the liquid phase decreased, but it decreased only to a limit, to a level, and it did not decrease further. So there is no change in the macroscopic properties. Fifth, the equilibrium can be achieved from both the directions. Okay, so equilibrium can be reached from any direction. Sorry, from either reactants or products or a mixture of both. So here we look at the second graph here. So in the second graph, as you can notice here, I started with NO2, which means the jar initially was filled with NO2 instead of N2O4. So here, at time A, it was a colorless appearance. In this case, it will be dark brown appearance because I have only NO2s and there is no N2O4 in the beginning. So NO2 becomes my reactant, and NO2 concentration decreases, and beyond the dotted line, we know that at dotted line the equilibrium is established, it stops decreasing. On the other hand, the N2O4, which was not present in the reaction mixture in the beginning because that was the product, it was produced more and more and more and more. So it was increasing. Beyond the equilibrium point, it stopped increasing. Okay, so if you take appropriate number of concentration of the reactants, you can notice that in both the cases, the final concentration of N2O4 is same in both the graph, whether I start with reactants or I start with product. Similarly, the concentration of NO2 also is same, which means the equilibrium can be established. The same thing will happen. So if you actually look at the picture beyond the dotted line, like if I hide this particular part, then you can see that the remaining part beyond the dotted line after equilibrium, it's the same. So it doesn't matter whether you start the reaction with N2O4 or the NO2 or the mixture of both. At equilibrium, the composition will be in the same proportion. Composition of the N2O4, the reactants and products, will be in the same proportion, in the same ratio. So that's what is the fifth characteristic. So the equilibrium can be established from either direction, from left or right, from the reactants or the products. Okay, now after having understood the five characteristics, the next part that we will learn is we are learning two terms. Two terms. One term is position of equilibrium. Position of equilibrium. And second term is Kc. These are the two terms we are learning. Often students are not clear with the exact difference between the two terms. Let us try and be as clear as possible. So first we'll talk about the equilibrium position of equilibrium. If you look at the third point here, it says that the concentration of reactants and products remain constant, but in no way they are equal, which means they are not equal. So concentration of reactants is not equal to concentration of product at equilibrium. At equilibrium, concentration of reactants is not equal to concentration of product, which means there are two cases here. There are two cases possible. At equilibrium, either the concentration of reactant is greater than concentration of products, or concentration of reactants is less, matlab concentration of products is more than concentration of reactant. So these are the two cases. These are the two possibilities. But having said that, I cannot deny the possibility that this will never happen. Okay, that reaction is equal. So concentration of reactant is equal to concentration of product. This will never happen. I'm not saying that. Coincidentally, it may happen, but it is not necessarily happening. That is what we mean here. Okay, so this is also possible, but this is not compulsory. Most of the cases it will not be happening. Coincidentally in some reaction under certain conditions, it may happen. So, but in most of the cases, it will be these two cases. So we only talk about these two cases. Okay, so we were talking about position of equilibrium. So at equilibrium, if case one, which is concentration of reactants is greater than the concentration of products, then we can say that the position of equilibrium or equilibrium position is lying to the left. Why? Because at equilibrium, reactants are more than the products. And the reaction, if I write the reaction, reactants give the product reversibly. So reactants are written to the left, products are written to the right. So in the case one, because at equilibrium, there are more reactants than the products. So its equilibrium is in the favor of reactants. So I can say the position of equilibrium is to the left. On the other hand, if in some reaction, if the products are more than the reactants at equilibrium, then I can say that the equilibrium is in the favor of products. So equilibrium position is to the right. So these are the two possible answers for equilibrium position. Position of equilibrium either can be to the left or to the right. We say equilibrium position is to the left when at equilibrium there are more reactants than the products. And we say that equilibrium position is to the right when there are more products than the reactants. Okay, that's about the position of equilibrium. So just to apply that in a situation, we will take a look at this graph. At equilibrium, beyond this point, you can say that N2O4 is more than NO2. Okay, the concentration of N2O4 is greater than the concentration of NO2. And the reaction here, like in this particular case, the reaction was, we started with N2O4. and the concentration of N2O4 is greater. So I can say that equilibrium position is to the left here because N2O4 concentration is greater. And we know that this reaction we started with NO2. Here again, N2O4 is more, concentration of N2O4 is more than concentration of NO2. So here I can say that equilibrium position is to the right. So equilibrium position is in the favor of N2O4. If N2O4 is a reactant, then left. If the N2O4 is a product, then right. Okay, so that's about the position of equilibrium. The second term that we are learning is the Kc value. The equilibrium constant. Kc is also called as the equilibrium constant. Okay, now to understand the Kc, we'll take an example of a reaction. Okay, so there's a reaction between A and B, and that gives you C and D. The balancing is 2A, 3B gives you 2C plus D. Okay, that's the reversible reaction. So in the beginning of this reaction, here, I've started with A and B. The reaction will have only A and B molecules. So molecules of A and B only. There is no C and D here, which means I can say that the reaction mixture contain 100% reactants, 0% products. So in the beginning of the reaction, the reaction mixture will have 100% reactants and 0% products. Now assume that this reaction is an irreversible reaction. This is not a reversible reaction. This is irreversible reaction. So what will happen in this case is that at one point of time, all the ABs will be converted into series. Okay, and we say that when this happens, when all the ABs are converted to series, we say that the reaction is undergone completion. Reaction has undergone completion, and at that time there will be 100% CD and 0% AB, and that's 100% products and 0% reactant. So which means that during the reaction, during the progress of the reaction, the reaction is from starting till the end, reaction is progressing, which means that in somewhere in the middle of the reaction, if we talk about, reaction would have reached some extent. Reaction would have reached some extent. So we can, I'll show that with the help of a line, let's say. So this is the total journey of the reaction, total path of the reaction, where this is the beginning of the reaction. So in the beginning, the reaction ka position of the reaction is over here, where there are 100% reactants and 0% products. On the other hand, when the reaction undergoes completion, the reaction has reached here, where there is 0% reactant and 100% products. So somewhere in the middle, let's say over here, I will have reactants less than 100. Reactants less than 100. Let's say around 70% reactants, and I can say 30% products. Somewhere over here, if I say I have 30% reactants and 70% products. So as you can see that as the reaction progresses, starting from here, as the reaction progresses starting from here, as it go ahead, the reactants become lesser and lesser and products become more and more. And at the time of completion, the reactants are 0 and products are 100%. This is what will happen in the irreversible reaction. This is what will happen in the reversible reaction. The irreversible reaction will start here and it will end here. But in a reversible reaction, this doesn't happen. In a reversible reaction, this doesn't happen. So reversible reaction will start, but it will not end. A reversible reaction will start, but it will not end. So it starts from here, it proceeds. Okay, but somewhere it will pause, somewhere it will stop progressing. Why? Because equilibrium has established over here. Wherever the equilibrium is established, the reaction doesn't proceed further from there. So this is the extent, we can say that this is the extent of the reaction. The reaction has gone to till this extent. If suppose equilibrium is established at this moment, somewhere here during the life of the reaction, during the journey of the reaction, this is where the equilibrium is established. So we can say this is the extent of reaction. If suppose another reaction, which I'm showing by a different colored marker, another reaction, suppose it has gone up to here and it has established equilibrium here, then iska extent of this reaction is here. This reversible reaction is here. So which means that the extent of a reversible reaction depends on at what stage of the reaction progress the equilibrium is established. And when the equilibrium is established, the reaction doesn't move forward. Okay, it will never, reversible reaction will never ever reach here if all the characteristics of, like, if it's carried out under a closed system. So that's what is the extent of reaction. Now, extent of reaction can be quantified. Extent of reaction can be quantified by the term called Kc, which is equilibrium constant. Which is equilibrium constant. Okay, so Kc is the quantification of this extent. So if there are two reactions, suppose one reaction has the reaction 1 has the Kc value, let's say randomly 5.3 into 10 raised to 7. And another reaction, a different reaction, has the Kc value, which is 2.7 into 10 raised to 2. So I can say that reaction 1 has, the reversible reaction 1 has gone to a greater extent than reversible reaction 2. Because now I have a value that shows 10 raised to 7 and this is 10 raised to 2. So that's how the Kc value indicates that how far the reaction has gone before the equilibrium is established. So Kc value will tell you that. Now, how do you calculate the Kc value? Kc value ke liye, simply what you need to do is that take the ratio of concentrations of reactants, of products in the denominator, raised to the power as they the same as their coefficient in the equation. I'll take an example here. Divided by the concentration of all the reactants raised to the power same as the coefficients of them as in the equation. So if we take the above equation here, so in the Kc expression, I will have to write C and D in the numerator because they're the products. So concentration of C, concentration of D. Now C raised to 2. Why? Because C ka coefficient is 2 here, and D raised to 1 because D ka coefficient is 1 here. Divided by concentration of A into concentration of B. A ka coefficient will be 2 and B ka coefficient will be 3. So A raised to 2 and B raised to 3. So this is the Kc expression. This becomes the Kc expression for this reaction. So which means that every equation, every reaction will have a different Kc expression. Will have a different Kc expression. Okay. Now, how does the Kc is the indication of the extent of reaction? As you can see that the products ka concentration is the numerator and reactions ka concentration is the denominator. So if I compare the blue and the pink, the two reactions, in case of blue, you can see that products will be more than the reactants, which means the numerator will be greater than the denominator. Okay, over here, the Kc value over here will be greater than the Kc value over here. Obviously, because as you go to the right, as you go to the more and more right, the numerator will increase. The numerator will increase and the denominator will decrease. Okay, hence the Kc value increases. So hence this is the way the extent of reaction can be quantified, and which is described by the term called equilibrium constant Kc. So that is what is Kc, the equilibrium concentration. Okay, so having understood how to write the Kc expression for a reaction, we'll take one more example, and then we'll talk about the manipulation of the Kc values. Okay, so let's say the reaction N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. This is the making of ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen. So Kc expression for this will be concentration of ammonia. That's because numerator mein there are products raised to 2 because the 2 is the coefficient of ammonia, divided by N2 raised to 1 and H2 to the power raised to the power 3. So that's the Kc expression for this particular reaction. Now, after that, we need to know how do you, what are the manipulations of Kc value that you need to know. So we'll take certain cases when, if the reaction or if the equation is reversed, then what happens to the Kc value? Equation is reversed, matlab suppose instead of N2 plus 3H2 gives you 2NH3, I am taking 2NH3 gives N2 plus 3H2. So the Kc value will get inversed. Kc value is inversed. That's very obvious because the numerator becomes the denominator and denominator becomes the numerator. So assume that Kc value for this particular reaction is, let's say, 20. If iska Kc value is 20, Kc value of this will be 1 upon 20 because the values of numerator and denominators are swapped. So when the equation is reversed, Kc is inversed. That's one thing. Second thing, when the coefficients are doubled, coefficients in the equation are doubled. For example, in this, instead of 1N2, I'm taking 2N2. Instead of 3H2, I'm taking 6H2, and 2NH3 की जगह पे 4NH3. In this case, the Kc value will get squared. Kc value gets squared. So for this now Kc will be 400, the square of 200. And similarly, if the coefficients are tripled, then Kc value is cubed. So 20 raised to 3 will be the Kc. If the case coefficients are halved, then Kc becomes the Kc is rooted, square rooted. Which means in that case, if the coefficients are half, suppose. So the original may this was 1, 3, and 2. So if I change this to half, 1.5 and 1, the Kc will be square root of 20. And finally, if there are two equations, and you add up the two equations, if two equations are added, their Kc values will be multiplied. So Kc values are multiplied. So example of fifth one is, let's say A plus B gives you C, and let's say C plus D gives you E. Okay. And let's say the Kc value for this is 20, and the Kc value for the second is, let's say, 50. So when I add the two equations, the C and C will get cancelled. So the net equation becomes A plus B plus D gives you E. So the Kc value of this will become 50 into 20, which is 1000. Okay. That's how you manipulate the Kc values. So we will. Yeah. So that's the manipulation. When the reaction is inversed, the Kc becomes reciprocated. So Kc dash is equal to 1 upon Kc. So when coefficients are doubled, Kc square, tripled, Kc cube, halved, root of Kc. And when the two reactions are added, Kc value of first reaction is multiplied with the Kc of value of second reaction. So that this will be the Kc of the net reaction, Kc of the overall reaction. Okay. And one last thing for today's class is that the value of Kc need not be given a unit, though there are few boards where the Kc value unit is given, but in IBDP earlier it was there. Now they said no need to give the unit. So Kc value will not have any unit. Okay, so that's all about equilibrium in this chapter.